are now live. So remember, folks, whatever you say is
Behave yourself.
Recorded for posterity.
and everybody, I don't know what happens to my account should I die. So,
You're not going to die anytime soon.
From your mouth to God's ears.
Yes.
That's a whole other issue in tech land. What happens to your stuff
Jeez.
online when you die? Who gets custody of it? So that's a whole nother. We will not talk about that this week.
Okay.
We will not. Okay, but I am ready. If you guys are ready, then let's roll.
Hello? Are you ready? Then we'll begin.
It's been a heck of a weekend, including an appearance on another podcast for me, but you got to stick around to find out what that is. This is Monday Morning Catholic, episode number 35.
6:30 Monday morning. I'm here hiding in my bed. A song plays on my alarm clock as I cover up my head. Somewhere in the distance, I remember yesterday singing hallelujah.
It's always a weekend when I have registrations. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another edition of the Monday Morning Catholic Podcast. I am your host and moderator, Joanne Mercier, Director of Religious Education for Saints Martha and Mary Parish in Lakeville, Massachusetts, part of the lovely Cranberry Collaborative. And the gang is all here with us this week. Yay! It's about time, too, folks. So let's get right to it because I've missed you all. Of course, Linda Reed has been with me for the last couple of weeks.
Hello.
He doesn't desert from St. Thomas's Parish in Providence, Rhode Island. Good morning, Linda.
Good morning. How are you?
Tired. How are you?
I'm the same way.
You wouldn't think in the middle of August we'd have tired musicians.
You wouldn't think so, but
Thanks.
today I am.
Okay, and look who's back from a few weeks away. Nancy Smith from
Yay!
St. Christopher's Parish in Tiverton, Rhode Island. Good morning, Nancy. How you doing? Is she there, Nance? Uh-oh. Already.
Nancy.
Uh-oh. Okay, let's see what happened here. I think it's on her end because it's not on mine. Let's see. Hold on. You there, Nance?
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
All
I
right.
did nothing.
Okay.
I really did nothing, gang.
It was me. It was me.
Okay.
My faults and failures.
I
Thank you.
told you I wasn't even leaving this.
And how you doing this morning, Nance?
Doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Other than this, fine.
Yeah, I know. Tell me.
And Steve Romano's back, Our Lady of Mount Carmel Parish, Bristol, Rhode Island. Good morning, Stephen. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing good. Good to be back.
Yes, I haven't seen any of you in one place since.
Well, I thought last week you replaced me because there was this other lady on. So, you know.
Oops.
I'm only busting. I'm only kidding.
No, we like Allison, and we won't mind having Allison Jingers back with us because she
That's
can
right.
she can be a hoot.
But
I
Steve,
like
Yeah, I
we
sent
could never
I sent her
replace you,
a
Stephen.
Facebook request. I sent her a Facebook friend request, and she accepted. So
so she's okay.
yeah.
No, we will have. I want her to be back on with the three of you because I Nancy knows her because Nancy's met her before. Yes, you have, dear.
I know. I've met her. I've met her. I have met her. I've not worked with her.
Right.
Okay.
But I will have her back so that we all can gang up on her.
It's always a good to hear a different voice.
See, Allison, you know what's in store for you.
Yeah. Well, it's only because she's an Android user, so I just like to pick on her.
Oh, okay.
So
Couldn't convert her, huh?
she would like an iPad. She really would, so she can see how the other half lives, and I one day will get an Android device so that I can see how the other half lives. So it's a mutual thing.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's the curiosity in all of us. how have you all been? Have you all made it? Have you all recovered from the convention?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you get home. I hit the ground running. With,
Yeah.
I get home Saturday, 4:00 mass. Boom. It's like nothing ever
Yeah.
happened.
Exactly, Linda.
It's
Exactly.
true. Weddings, funerals.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bar mitzvahs.
Yeah. It's like you don't really get a chance to recover from.
No.
Even in the middle of July.
And even although I must confess, I did have some weekdays where I was able to go through some of the music that we got. It was a lot of music. I had to send it home via UPS, but it was great to go through the stuff. So
I'll admit, Linda, that's the smartest thing you probably could have done. We've done. How many times have we tried to bring it home in conventional,
And especially now that they're sticklers about the 50-pound rule.
Yeah.
I mean, my shoes weigh 25 pounds.
So
You
you
know.
wear one pair on your feet, right?
Oh, geez.
I put one pair of shoes in my suitcase, and usually Beth crawls in them, and I put her in the suitcase, and that's it.
There you
know,
go.
So.
Okay.
No, it was, and the thing is, I don't want to haul that extra weight around with 2 herniated discs. No, thank
Exactly.
you.
Yeah.
So,
And honestly,
and there was a UPS right in the building.
Oh, wow.
So it was very convenient. I just went down with this pile of music. I said, I want to buy a box. Now send it home.
This
Yeah.
is my box now. If you have to know my
and honestly, I didn't really buy a lot this year.
I didn't either.
I have a lot. So
I have a
just
lot.
Bought,
Yeah.
I bought a few things from Morningstar Music. They were there, and that's really it. It was maybe a, just a small pile. So I carried it home with me. But
Well, it wasn't that I bought that much, Stephen. It was what we all got.
yeah, the hymnals and stuff like that.
And then I went to a lot of breakouts that had pretty sizable packets of music.
Yeah.
So I wound up with a packet of music about that thick in addition
Wow.
to hymnals.
What hymnals? Did I get in the wrong line?
They gave out one at OCP. Yes, OCP.
Oh, okay.
In that
Yep. I got that one.
box, remember?
Yep. Yep.
And then there was one more too.
That's
World
okay.
Library, maybe? No, World Library.
Anyway.
GIA. It was the youth hymnal from GIA.
Okay.
Now these you're going to have to show me these at some point because I haven't.
Okay.
Because I like to keep up on things even though I'm not a musician at present and just.
Well, you are always a musician. You may not be functioning as one right now.
Well, I'll be functioning next weekend subbing.
Well, there you go. See, you're always a
See,
musician.
always a musician, yeah.
Yeah, always. Well, we're here not so much to do the music. Well, we'll do a little music later, but
Yeah, we will. I have something to
get
say.
a little convention update from you folks because I haven't seen you all in this forum. But we do gather here each week to take a look back at the weekend's liturgies and try to make some sense of all we see, hear, and sometimes smell. Haven't been giving out points lately, but since it doesn't matter, it really is okay.
Yeah.
So, of course, grab your favorite cup of, and today it's water. One of these days it will be.
Yeah.
I don't think I've done the something stronger yet. So
No.
as we get into the season right now,
It's only Monday morning.
well, let me tell you, as a GRE,
Yeah.
and when I get into that, and you will hear in the background, my dogs.
Fox!
Oh, okay.
Sonny! Shh! Shh! Shh!
Uh-oh.
Shh,
I
girls.
can't deal with it. Hold on one second. Talk amongst yourselves. I have to go break up a dog fight.
Oh no!
Okay.
Oh my God!
Stephen, how you feeling, Stephen? Better?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Good.
He can't comment on live podcasts.
Well, good or bad is all I'm looking for right now.
I'm healing. I'm still healing, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I'm not
Yeah.
surprised. Not surprised.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I guess we haven't been all together since the convention. I thought
No,
St. Louis
we
was
haven't.
very, very nice.
This is my
I
first
did
time
too.
back.
Yeah.
I
thought
thought
St. Louis
everything
was
was
very nice.
well organized.
Well,
I
absolutely.
thought for somebody who has trouble walking, I had no trouble accessing all the venues.
Yep.
Mhm.
And I thought the breakouts were wonderful. And I thought, which I don't always think, but this time I thought that the plenum speakers were very good.
Yes.
I thought so.
All of them.
And it goes to show you it doesn't have to be all the time a name that every single person is going to recognize
That's right.
to contribute. And because I think one of my favorites, and I can't even think of the gal's name, she was Thursday morning. Isn't that
Yeah,
terrible?
she was a new face, wasn't she?
She was a new face. I don't have.
Was that the Dominican nun?
No.
No,
It
Anne.
was the other lady, Anne.
Oh, Garrido.
I didn't
Garrido.
anticipate speaking about this, or I would have had my
Yeah.
notes. But
Yeah.
I enjoyed her plenum very, very much.
I enjoyed them all. They
Absolutely.
all had something good to say. They all had something good to say. And the breakouts were good. The venue was good. I had a grand time. Really did.
Yep. Hospitality.
Our
Midwestern
podcast,
hospitality.
our little podcast, our little interviews went really well, I thought. People were very gracious.
Well, one of your friends liked Stephen and Linda, I noticed.
What?
I think it was, well, I won't name names. There was somebody, wonderful job, Linda and Stephen. And I went, okay.
Did they leave you out, Nancy? I thought you did a great job.
Oh, well. She back?
And she's back. Are your dogs still alive?
That's okay. Sebastian's fixing to tell me a few stories.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if you hear
sure.
some meowing, I'm sorry.
I have no
So-
idea what happened, but I will tell you this much. I've had dogs long enough now to realize that they sometimes vibration, smells, whatever. And
The
she
position of Mercury.
was, well, that too. And my younger one was like circling my older one, smelling everything.
Oh, jeez.
You know, I do worry about her because she is 15.
Mm.
And so Kevin, luckily my husband, was in the vicinity, heard the dogs, and knew I was on the air. So
Yeah.
I was able to come up and grab them and take them downstairs to try to sort out the problem. Because
Yes.
Sunny was defending her. Again, you have to know my two dogs, Sunny and Socks. Okay. Sunny is 15 and blind, and Socks is 11 and a rescue dog. So she was a baby mama for a long time and thinks she needs to baby mama the older. I know that's what's happening, and she just either got something, smelled something, saw something in Sunny, and of course Sunny's trying to defend herself, trying to say, "Get out of my face!
Yeah.
What is your problem?" So Kevin took them downstairs, and he'll sort that out.
Okay.
So, and I brought them upstairs because he's doing something else, so I figured to get them out of his stuff. And they were very quiet here.
Yeah. I didn't even know they were there.
And
Oh, well.
then they did that. So,
Oh, well.
if
They
we-
won't be invited anymore.
that's it.
Yes, that's right.
They're not coming up here anymore. Done with it. That's the end of it. So let us, as I was saying,
Yes.
now that the podcast has gone off the rails for the first time today, it won't be the last either. Let us begin with our regular segments. And the first one we always start off with is,
Do you hear what I hear?
Do you hear what I hear? For the 19th Sunday in Ordinary Time, we all hear the same readings, and we all did again this weekend, right?
Right.
All hear the same readings?
Yes, we did.
Okay, but everybody's homily is a little bit different, and we actually have 4 homilies today.
Yay.
Now, I want to say one thing, and I have to say this ahead of when I was going to talk about it. I did do a little gate crashing in another podcast this past weekend. The lovely people at Catholic Weekend, and that's catholicweekend.sqpn.com. The lovely people over there, I had a chance to sit in on their podcast, and when they were describing ours to another person, was saying, yes, they have these homilies and they rate them. We do not rate homilies.
No.
This is how rumors get started. you know,
We share what we heard.
we share
Exactly. That's exactly right.
we share what we hear because we want, some people hear the same homilist every week. They don't hear another take on things. And what we're trying to do is show that these scriptures are so broad that they are open to lots of interpretation,
Hmm.
and many different angles of the same, wrong way, many different angles of the same picture. So that's why we do it. So I have to come up right front. We do not rate. Okay, so please do not write the Bishop of Providence and tell me. Not rate homilists. We do not do that. Nope. Do not. Please do not. Do not do it. It's a sin. Don't do it. Okay. So let us go on, please, to what the readings were for this past Sunday. First reading was 1 Kings, chapter 19. And anytime I hear the Old Testament right now, in light of what's going on in the world, it takes on a bigger significance,
Oh gosh, yeah.
especially with the names of places and stuff. But this one is the famous trying to find God, section of Elijah, and wanting to, was God in the big thing or in the little tiny whisper?
Hmm.
And some of us miss, that. I do. So I like to hear that, to remind me eventually every so often. Psalm 85 is the common psalm for the day. It's, Lord, let us see your kindness and grant us your salvation. Is anyone doing
It's the proper psalm for the day.
proper psalm? I'm so sorry. I'm hearing it in my head, but it's coming out my mouth the wrong way. Don't mind me. The proper psalm for the day. Anyone doing any of the common psalms right now? And that's a no.
Yes,
no.
we're doing 34 right now.
You're doing taste and see.
Yes.
Okay.
Lord,
We
you have
did
the
the
words.
proper.
Again?
We did the proper psalm.
Okay. Nancy?
Jonka says at 19. Lord, you have the words. I'm drawing a blank on the number.
Common psalm.
19.
All right, so 2 and 2. Not bad.
Yeah, and the Psalm 34 we're using is the Stephen Dean
Oh,
arrangement.
I like that one. It's very rarely used.
I'll tell you, the people really sing it.
I really
Yeah. But speaking of Psalm 85, I'll throw a prop out to Scott Soper has a nice arrangement of Lord, let us see your kindness.
I think I remember that.
That we've used for Advent before.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Just check it out.
Yeah, it is. 85 is one of the common psalms for Advent.
Yes, it is. And we used one of the selections from Michael Jonkas' Psalter, which we had used as a common psalm for Advent for like 3 years running. And so the people knew it like cold. I mean,
Wow.
I was amazed. And I intoned it, and boom, they just took off with it. I just didn't even have to sing hardly. And it's not an easy, it's not what you call an easy refrain. It's one of his extended refrain psalmody.
Yeah.
And
The one you have to sort of remit by the third time around, you've got the whole thing.
well, not them.
The third year or the?
Well, yeah,
So the third year of the
the
third.
third usage.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
But-
well worth it, huh? Okay.
We start, yeah. Well, I find that it really gives a different twist to the liturgy of the word.
Okay.
It kind of makes you focus in on that first reading a little bit longer.
Okay.
And I like what it does for the liturgy of the word.
All right.
But you have to be dedicated to it and do it. And so I started this like 5 years ago. And it's bearing fruit now.
Cool.
Amen.
Cool. Romans 9, continuing on in the book of Romans, the letter to the Romans, I should say. And this really, I don't think anybody preached on this weekend, because when I was looking this up in my...
It's a difficult one, isn't it?
all it is a transition paragraph.
Yeah,
from
it's
one
and if
to
you don't read
another.
it correctly,
Yeah, it sounds...
Yeah, well, I didn't know what it said until Pat read it at 10:30 this morning.
Your husband.
I mean, you know, It
Yeah.
was,
It truly is in the phraseology, isn't it? How you
Yeah.
present it. Yeah.
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 It is, and again, we're not rating anybody, but
No.
No, we're not.
we have a new lector in our parish, and she's had theater training,
Mm,
and boy, does she read very, very well.
mm-hmm.
Because I approached her last week, and I said, she's new to the parish, and I said, you read beautifully, and I said, have you worked at a parish that has trained you? And she said, no, but I have theater training.
Mm-hmm.
And she read the King's reading last night.
Yes.
And she really did a nice job with the tiny whispering sound.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Versus this morning, and again, we're not rating anybody, but this morning, the lady who read it just ran through it like the church was on fire.
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So, and it ruins it. It really does.
Sure, it does.
That'll
So
happen.
that was my rant for the day. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And we're not rating anybody.
No.
We're just expressing our opinions.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Thank you, Catholic Weekend.
And they don't reflect the opinion of the podcast necessarily.
Right.
Right. Okay, thank you for saving my butt there. It's a good-
Although I would underline the fact that theater training is wonderful for lectors.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is.
unless you get the one that's over the top.
No, I don't mean, did I say overacting? No.
Right.
I said theater training,
Right. Right. Yeah.
which is what we'll talk about at your place, Nancy.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, that's a topic for another discussion. Anyway, moving right along. But no, that whole Romans 9 piece was, looking it up in my research, it's a statement of the divinity of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a statement that talks about who the Israel, that Paul is feeling bad because these people who have announced who the Messiah is supposed to be are missing the point.
Yep.
But basically, it's treated as a transition paragraph. So why we used it, that's only the Council Fathers know why they chose that.
Well,
you're
I think
looking at
it according to my husband, it kind of shows Paul's angst at
Okay. All right.
the fact that his people
Right.
are not, the people that had the prophets and the covenants and the prophecies, and these people are not taking advantage
You're right.
of the graces. He didn't say graces, but they're not taking advantage of belief in Jesus.
Right. Right. That's basically what I've heard whenever I've heard anybody talk on it. That's the basis of it. He's just kind of melancholy.
Yeah.
But it's funny, it was just funny where my literature said it's a transition paragraph. It's like,
Yeah, and I took some inspiration from the very last line, Christ who is over all, God blessed forever, and I brought out one of those old chestnuts, all hail the power of Jesus.
Oh,
name.
yeah.
oh yeah, okay.
So yeah, but yeah, I agree, Joanne. It's one of those things. It's kind of say now what. That's really strange that they put that there. Yeah.
I have, maybe next week now, since it's a transition, next week's could be a little bit, more meaty or more to the point.
Yeah.
But this week's, it was definitely, if you're going to preach on first reading and gospel. And of course, our gospel was Matthew 14, continuing in Matthew, the walking on the water sequence. And, Peter's faith and his doubt that almost got him drowned, basically. Which, boy, do I see myself in that every single time when you have, yes, I can have my eyes on God and Jesus, and then all of a sudden, oh no, and here she goes, right down
Yep.
in the water. So let's hear what our different homilists had to say this week. Anybody want to go first? And they always do that.
Okay.
I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead, Stephen.
All right, Stephen.
Well, I heard 4 of the same homily, so I'm really good at this. So
Go
we
for
had
it.
we actually he did a very nice job. We had Father Mark Lane, Australian born.
Oh wow.
speak about the Unbound Ministries, which is it's the organization where they ask for sponsorship for the young children and the elderly. He said it used to be under a different name,
Yes,
but they've
it was,
changed to Unbound Ministries.
It was CF.
Yes,
Yes,
that's it.
because I've sponsored, and I've never really talked about this, but I've sponsored children through this for many years.
So he had a beautiful table set up with all their, the children and the elderly pictures and their information, and I just found his Australian accent very cool. So,
Yeah.
but and I'll tell you, sometimes when we have the mission talks, I think you would all agree that they kind of skip over the gospel.
Yeah.
But he did an excellent job tearing the gospel apart and then putting his what he had to say within the context of the gospel.
Good for him.
So
That's good.
he basically talked about the gist of it was with this whole idea of faith, Peter getting scared and starting to sink. He said it's the same thing with us, and he kept mentioning over and over again, our faith must affect our daily Catholic life. Not just when we're sitting in the pew for 45 minutes on Sunday, but he also mentioned, like, he drove up from Brooklyn on I-95, and he said, the practical thing is I'm a Catholic, so how do I drive my car? How do I treat others who have no regard for my safety?
Nice.
Oh yeah.
And then he mentioned Pope Francis about how do we experience, and this was interesting phrasing, and I want to read it verbatim because I wrote it down. He said, we must meet the living Christ, not the dead Christ of history, but the living Christ. Where we meet them is in the poor and the vulnerable. And then he mentioned 3 of his sponsor people and gave their little backstory. So I thought he did a great job weaving it in.
Yeah, they're a great organization.
He was great. I enjoyed him a lot. He was great.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm not guilting anybody. If you can't do it, then don't do it. But don't take the card with the child's name on it and hijack it. He said, 'cause these people need help. So if you can't do it, leave it for somebody else to do it. Because I think sometimes we take those cards, we bring them home, and then we throw them away.
Yep.
No, you can't. You cannot do that with that.
No, and I'm up in the loft, so I can't see what's going on under me. But from what I could hear, after each mass, there were quite a few people that stopped at the table, and I think he said it was $30 a month.
It is.
And he said, it's basically a coffee, unless you go to Starbucks.
And I'll tell you, in the years that I have been with them, and I've been with them since, I want to say I've been with them since 2005, I think. They've only called me once to possibly increase my donation. And I did, because if they've only called me once in almost 10 years, then they must need it.
Right.
Something going on. And I have sponsored a young girl in the Philippines the entire time. I've seen her go from age 9 to almost age 19.
Oh,
And
nice.
they send letters, and I'll admit publicly that I've never written her back. And there's a reason why I haven't done it. And I will rectify that soon enough. But it's a biblical thing where you're not supposed to trumpet what you do. So I've sort of been quiet about it. And the only reason I bring it up now is because I believe so much in the organization. When she is done, when her sponsorship time is done, I will get another one. because I just feel that, I mean, they've proven themselves to be an organization that does what they say they're going to do. The money goes to these people to give them a better life.
Right.
You know,
And Joanne, he mentioned it's not only the kids, it's the elderly people too that they sponsor.
they do elderly as well.
And he said a lot of times in these countries, these people, the families just kind of discard them.
Yeah.
You know, and he said, so, you know, helping out, he mentioned one woman, I think she was 80, helping her live out, you know, her dignity by sponsoring, and you know, someone who's elderly, not just the kids. So,
yeah, I think I think they do a wonderful job. That's the whole thing.
I told him after Mass, he was very enjoyable. And what he did was, Joanne, he found a few people in our parish that actually do sponsor some people already, and he had them stand with him at the table.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So and he mentioned, like, you know, he said like each Mass he had somebody different, and he mentioned their name and said, you know, after Mass, Walter and I will be in the back. Walter, who everybody knows, is, you know, he sponsors a child, and I think that helps. So.
Yeah, because you're able to say, you know,
Yes.
this is an organization worth, because there's so many, and I mean not to say that it's any of the ones that show up at our doors, but there
I
are
think we lost Nancy.
Oh dear.
We did, didn't we?
She'll be back.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. It'll be good. It'll be good.
All right.
Look on the bright light.
She'll be back.
And so that was basically my homily story.
And I will put their information in the honorable mentions this week.
Okay.
Because I think if you're looking for an organization, Catholic based, but now I believe is Christian wide, this is a really good group.
Yeah.
And I can vouch for them personally for the last 10 years.
And by happenstance, I had selected We Walk by Faith.
Oh wow.
And also Be Not Afraid, just by happenstance.
But it went with the readings.
Right. And but he said to me after Mass last night, oh, he said, you know, the songs were very fitting. And I said, well, I did go with the readings, but it just so happens that he also mentioned a lot of that too. So it's always nice when everything lines up.
Uh-huh.
I love it. I love it. Well, while we're waiting for Nancy to get back here, and I will tell folks, she had a tough time getting on this week.
Yeah.
So hopefully she will get back with us. Why don't we go over to Linda?
Let's go to St. Thomas.
Go to St. Thomas and see what St. Thomas had to say.
Well, the deacon preached this week.
Yay.
Our deacon, Al, he preaches maybe 7-8 times a year. Because our pastor really likes to preach.
And that's okay.
But that's okay. But our deacon always does a nice job because he has a different point of view. He lives in a world that the pastor doesn't live in. And so he always starts his homily with a joke, which I will not repeat. But no, there's nothing wrong with the joke. It's just... But it did have something to do with the homily. Okay. I mean, the readings. Anyway, he told a story, and this was not the joke, but he told a story at the beginning about how when he was first ordained, he works in construction. He worked in construction. And the DRE at the parish where he was needed some small stones. And so he knew where to get some. So he said, I'll drive you. He said, and we pulled up to the spot, and she saw the stones and jumped out of the car before I could tell her to watch where she stepped. And he said, immediately she was up to her ankles in mud because it had rained the night before. So he said, being who I am, I laughed, and then I got out of the truck and I helped her out of the mud. And he said it just... rumors started around the parish that Deacon Al could walk on water. He started with that story, but the basic thrust was the phrase, do not be afraid.
Right.
And he said, if you look at the gospel, that phrase is everywhere. And he went through Mary, Joseph, the apostles at many, many junctures, the prophets. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. And he said, very often we feel like we are drowning in debt, in illness, in dealing with a death, in dealing with an errant child. He said many times we feel like we are drowning and we wonder why God isn't there, why God isn't in the earthquake, why God isn't in our own personal wind or earthquake. And we don't always hear that still, small voice of the Father. But if we will be quiet and listen for that voice, rather than raging about where is God, and realize that we have in our belief system the courage to walk on water and deal with whatever it is that's sucking us under. So I thought it was very good.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Why am I missing all the good ones?
Yeah.
And also for you ladies on our list, I just got a text from Nancy.
Okay.
And
I'm trying to text her.
She said, and of course I just lost my earpiece. She said she lost the internet trying to get back on.
Oh, good God.
She had the repairman. The repairman was there this morning.
Oh no.
She said you have to laugh. You got to laugh. I said
Yes.
Yeah, you do.
So yeah.
Yeah, you do.
So.
Nice.
So she's lost in internet land somewhere.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Great.
She may pop up again.
Yeah, she said she's trying to get back in. So.
I think that's where we are today, isn't it? You know that's going to be the title of the show. God.
Somebody doesn't want this podcast to go on.
Oh, and I don't have that.
Ah,
I don't have that. Could it be?
could it be Satan?
Could it be the guy in the red cape and the pitchfork? I don't know.
Yes. I've really got to put that on my cart.
Yeah.
I have to. I've got to put that next to and the crickets.
Yeah.
With applause.
So what was your homily, Joanne?
We had our lovely pastor this morning at the 10 o'clock. Even though I was there all weekend for registration, and my husband deserves war pay battle pay for having to be there for all three masses.
Oh.
We only attend one, so so as to keep it real. But no, he approached it this morning from the avenue of he got kidnapped basically by his family and brought to New York for the day on Thursday. And because his brother-in-law wanted to go down to Ground Zero to see the memorial, to see the new building, and he reluctantly decided to go with him. Not that he has any problem with that, but it's just when it brings back a lot of painful memories for him. When that all happened on September 11th, 2001, he went down a couple of weeks later as clergy to go down and help, the effort. So because he was also a fire chaplain at the time. So he went down and showed his badge and his collar, and he said the things I saw that day were, the time I was there are things I'm still processing. So that must have been quite the experience for him. And he tried to liken that with, he said, but I found God in the small whispering sounds, much like Elijah did. Now he wasn't in the big, boom, he wasn't, and then people say, where was God in all of this? He said, well, I don't have that answer, quite frankly, but I do know where God was on these days after, because I saw him and heard him in the small things, and that's where I drew my strength and my hope, so that I could be, of more help to them. And it was really touching.
Mm.
I still don't know the man very well, but I feel like I'm getting to know him and who he is as through his homilies, and that's a good thing.
Sure.
He's still in the initial stages in the collaborative and being pastor of 3 parishes to try to get the people to know him so that he can help them. So it was a very, he wove in the, if we have to keep our eyes on Jesus in order to walk through a lot of what we have to walk through in our life. And if we take our eyes off of him, we fall. And our musicians, which I thought was an interesting move, programmed Precious Lord. Which you don't usually find in a Catholic church. And I was wondering Saturday night why they were singing so loudly at the preparation. And when I found out it was Precious Lord, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, it's something, I guess, a song that they know well enough, and they were full-throated on it. She has no internet still, as I'm getting.
Jeez.
The other song, Joanne, I was looking at, but I've never done it at our parish, is How Can I Keep From Singing?
Oh, please, that's my favorite.
Yeah, well, that's on number 1 on the list for fall. At St. Thomas.
Oh, thank you.
Because I just thought the text worked for this weekend.
Yeah, it does.
That's number 1 on the list for fall.
Yeah, I've never used, I haven't, in the 14 years I've been in Bristol, we just have never done it.
I've never used it either, and it's in our hymnal.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's one that people just seem to know the tune, so we could just do it without any hoopla. But because I find there are some of the hymns that people just know the tune, like "Shall We Gather at the River" or
the old folk tunes. Yeah.
"Precious Lord, Take My Hand." They just know those.
Right.
But that, I know when I was playing the music, I thought, I missed that one. Escaped. That one got by me. How can I keep from singing?
I used Tom Kenzie's "Stand By Me," and that was worked really well.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that worked really well. When the storm will draw me under, it was like, whoa, okay, this is good.
Yeah, I didn't have the congregation sing it.
No, I didn't. The congregation didn't sing it either because it's not in our books.
I was talking about How Can I Keep From Singing.
Oh, okay.
I would do it. It was one that I would do, just me alone on the piano, and it was something that I would use in those times. I'd use it for preparation, give them a break, and it was a song that came out of a lot of my struggles. That's how was one of the reasons I was so drawn to it. So that's why, not being able to sing really anymore, I can still muster that one.
Yeah.
It's because it's a philosophy. It's not a philosophy. It's what the belief in me that no matter what, I keep singing.
Keep singing. That's right.
In shape or form. So it's the same thing. Peter, I was wondering if anybody was going to do "His Eye Is on the Sparrow,"
No.
which isn't out of the realm of the possible. But it's fun. I like to see how musicians plug into these things. We're not going to go and rate musicians. No,
we're not.
We're not rating musicians. But
the other oldie, Joanne, too. That was in my head. "Great Is Thy Faithfulness."
That's another one. Yeah. Yep, that's another one.
Yeah.
We did. So the oldest thing we did was "Be Not Afraid."
We did it on Eagles Wings, believe it or not, for communion.
Yes.
Yeah. This weekend was a classics weekend.
Yeah, I wrestled with "Eagles Wings" or "You Are Mine" and went with "You Are Mine."
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have Nancy here on. And so while she's still trying to get on the internet and probably cursing her ISP,
Yeah.
she says that the homily at St. Teresa St. Christopher's was about equating Peter and our experiences. His courage and faith brought him to Christ. His trust enabled him to take that step onto the water. Doubt brought him down. But as it is for all of us, including Peter, we can always call in Jesus for help. He is always there. So that sounds like, and my pastor did say at the end, it's funny when the minute that Peter cries out, Jesus doesn't leave him.
Nope.
Saying, you sure? He picks him right up and takes care of him and then says, oh, ye of little faith.
Yeah.
Not like...
Wait till he gets him back in the boat and then says...
sort of like wait till your father gets home.
Yeah.
So I guess we've done all this, even with Nancy. I hope she gets back here. That's a shame.
I know.
So my dog's her internet.
Stinks.
I've got to come up with the title for the show. And I will. So let's just move right along because we've already started it. We've already started talking about these types of things in the next segment called Yep. So we talked about music being an important part in furthering homily thoughts to people and themes of the day. But we're going to switch gears a little bit, and I will say that one of the reasons I ended up on Catholic Weekend this past weekend was because of what they had done the previous podcast. They were talking about the Our Father in general, and of course they were getting into things like, oh, do we hold hands or not? I'm not going there.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's as bad as the sign of peace.
Yeah.
And the ritual of the dollop for the Eucharistic ministers before communion time. So we're not going to go there. But they were talking about the parts of the Our Father, and someone said, I think it was Captain Jeff that said, yeah, and then we have this embolism that you add on, and everybody's going, embolism?
Yeah.
No, you mean the doxology.
No.
They corrected him and said, no, it's called the doxology. What I did, and this was all I was doing this week, was going over there while the show was on and typing into their little chat room. The embolism is the part of the prayer that the priest says, deliver us, Lord, from every evil. That's the embolism. Why it's called an embolism? Haven't a clue.
But that's what it's called.
Or I could go into the big long theological explanation, and then you'd all be asleep in seconds. It's better than Sominex. And then doxology is for the kingdom, the power, and the glory. So you're half right, and he was right that he had the right word, but he wasn't sure where it was.
Yeah.
I type all this into the chat so we can go into what they're talking about. But because some of their regulars were not there, and it was only two of them talking together, and it was getting a little sing-songy, or whatever. I mean, I walked in, I didn't know what was happening. The girl who handles it behind the scenes said, do you want to go on? And the first thing I said was, I don't have any makeup on. Because, look, I'm not vain, but, there's a lot of spackle on this 55-year-old face, okay? It's spackled quite well. And this particular, camera that I'm using allows me to smooth all kinds of things out. All right? So I play and again, I'm not vain. I just don't want to scare little children.
Yeah, that's the way I feel.
But I just felt that before I've said no to a lot of things because of stuff like that, and this time I said, you know what? What the heck?
Yeah.
I'll go on, scare people, and whatever.
And you didn't scare anybody.
I didn't scare anybody. You thought I was intelligent, which made
I did. You sounded very intelligent.
It made me afraid because am I not intelligent, A, on this podcast?
No, you're reading too much into that compliment.
I thought
it was a compliment, not a criticism.
Okay.
Well, listen, I mean, I come on this podcast every week without makeup, and I'm doing just fine, so.
But then, let me get into the men don't have anything to worry about here. You know, I mean, if a man goes on without makeup, if a man has makeup on, they worry.
Then you're gonna worry.
No offense to theater people or anyone else in that business. But a woman, it's immediately, and people have said this to me when I haven't had my makeup on and they've seen me in public. Are you okay? I'm not feeling well. So,
I'm
for me,
fine, thank
I
you.
took that step out in faith. And they were so lovely and so gracious, and they talked about us so well that and that was the biggest reason why I did it, because I felt that I wanted more people to know about our little podcast that can.
Yes.
And so I took the step out in faith. We'll see if it brings us more people and hopefully more feedback.
Mm-hmm.
We need feedback.
Feedback.
Yes, it's shameless plug time. So, if you have any feedback on anything, and we keep trying to get you to do this, MondayMorningCatholic.net, MondayMorningCatholic@gmail.com, Facebook.com/MondayMorningCatholic, or, you can call us, which no one ever does, 774-955-0659 at the voice feedback line. But I will say that our Facebook page, whether or not they intend it to, I wish they would just tell us, on the Facebook page, yes, this is our feedback. Because they are responding to certain things that we're putting up on the Facebook page. So one thing that started on Steve's Facebook page, but I threw it over to ours, was a post that he put up from Pray Tell on Catholic weddings.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying, and my whole take on it is, for us, is the term Catholic weddings an oxymoron now? Because from what we're hearing, and Steve will talk to us a little bit more about this, there's not a lot of people coming to the church to get married. They're going everywhere else. Is that right, Steve?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Sorry, I got distracted there for a minute. I follow Pray Tell on Facebook.
Me too.
And granted, there's a lot of going back and forth, but that one caught my eye because I would say going back 10, 12 years ago, I would play 25, 30 weddings in a year. And especially there was a stint that I helped out at Providence College for a while. And they would have, Saturdays, they'd have weddings 10, 12, 2, and 4. And that would be almost, a couple of times a month. And it caught my eye because I know at my parish, I think we have 3 on the calendar this year.
Wow.
And granted, next year, the calls are coming in for next year. Next year, 2015 might be a banner year. But Denise, Denise Gannon had posted a couple of things under my post that she brought up some good things. And Linda, you brought up a few things as well. I just, I have a lot of friends who are I shouldn't say family, especially some of my cousins who have done the beach thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I know to the older aunts and uncles, it's unfathomable.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we have to face the fact that the institutional church is just not in the lives of the younger people today.
No, they're not.
And it's not even getting into the hoops that you have to jump through, to fill out all the paperwork and all the prenuptial investigations and all that stuff. So you ladies can chime in on your own thoughts, but I posted it because I thought it was an interesting read.
Yeah.
Well, it was an interesting read, and the response I made was to Denise about the difficulties with the wedding as an industry, but what the point I want to make now is that the people of marriageable age now are coming from parents for whom the church doesn't have much of a place. And so it would be unrealistic to expect that their children would have much of a value on a church wedding, particularly when you look at it and you have to jump through this hoop, and then you have to jump through that hoop, and then you have to jump through that hoop. And now I'm going by their perception of it, okay? You have to come to church every week. Oh, really? What? You know? Well, why would you want to get married in church if you don't intend to come to church every week, you know? So these kinds of things are real big obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean,
and
I could go on a long time,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to.
But Linda, I think like let's say my generation,
Yes.
we were the ones that succumbed to the family pressure of, oh, you should
Yes.
get married in church.
Yes.
But the generation after me, they just don't care.
No.
So they don't listen to grandma who says, oh, go call up Father so and so
No.
and
No.
tell him, you want to get married in the church. I think this generation, because the church weddings I am booking, they're older, and by older I mean they're in their 30s.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Right. Right.
They're not, they're not in their 20s. You can tell. I mean, I don't ask them how old they are, but I'm observant, and I can see that they're established in their careers or whatever. And
Yes.
and the ones that do get married in church, it's important to them. So.
But everybody else would rather get married in Aruba,
Yeah.
than church.
I know. I know.
And then what happens, what I hear people saying about destination weddings is that it becomes they can't go
Yeah.
because they can't afford to go to Aruba or Hawaii or whatever.
Exactly.
So it basically takes the community out of the process and really
And a big chunk of the family and friends too.
Yeah, and cements home the fact that this is our day.
Yeah.
Or my day if you got a bridezilla.
Yeah. Yeah.
And society is cementing that, not anything else.
And I know my church being the seaside community that it is, well, it is, we get calls all the time.
I bet.
From brides in California, and because they want to do the Newport thing. And we don't, I don't know how to phrase this, but I guess we don't, I don't want to say allow, we don't welcome them. But a church down the street does welcome them. Well, no, I mean, they welcome them, but I think they have to supply the priest, I think.
Wow. In other words, they rent their hall out.
They rent the church.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have a lot of weddings. And I guess it just depends on each parish. I know I've heard that some parishes in Newport that used to welcome the destination weddings don't anymore. So
Heard that too.
because then it's the whole can of worms of, like Linda just said, you're renting the building.
Yeah.
So you can do whatever you choose.
Whatever you choose, yes.
So.
But I do want to speak to one thing that you said, Stephen, that that we put them through kind of the prenuptial investigation.
Yeah.
You know what? As someone who has been a pastoral associate, who has done that sort of work, I try to tell people all we are trying to do is to give you a leg up on everybody else. No one is looking at the spiritual, emotional side of your marriage. They're all focusing in on your day. And we're trying to get you to focus into everything else. The day is just a day. We're trying.
It's that saying, a wedding is a day, a marriage is a lifetime, right?
Exactly. Yes. If you want to use the old saying, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is what we're trying to do, and it's part of our obligation to do that for our parishioners.
Right.
Well, yeah, but Joanne, I've never been a pastoral associate, but I've planned a lot of weddings.
Okay.
And there are some people, no matter how
No.
kindly and how concernedly you put it, that we are, concerned with your wedding, your marriage, besides the day itself.
Mhm.
They don't care.
We don't.
That's all they care about is
Yeah.
the day. And why can't we release doves in the church?
Because they hit the ceiling, for God's
Yeah.
sake. I mean, it's principle here.
Never mind what they leave on the pews. So
They hit the ceiling, they hit the walls.
I mean, you know what? This wedding thing is a topic for we could do 2 hours just.
oh
on the
God,
wedding.
easily,
Please.
easily.
But I will say the couples that have approached me even just last weekend that are, I would say they're early 30s, but you can tell
Yes.
that they're interested.
Mm.
Yes.
Let's sit down. So we can talk. I said, well, we can talk about the music and and you can tell they're genuinely interested in what's going on.
That's good.
So I suppose I'd rather have 5 of those
Yes, I would.
than 25 of the other.
Yes.
No, I'd agree,
Yeah.
but I worry about the other 25.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because I do, because we really need to reach out to them. It's all part of, and we talk about it in New Evangelization, talking about being intentional disciples, talking about, the best way we can help others is to invite kindly others to join us, even those who are supposed to be Catholic and don't come anymore. This is the kind of thing we all have to get in our brains, that it's all of our responsibility. It starts with the young ones. I mean, that's why I do Generations of Faith, to do intergenerational catechesis, to get the parents on board. So when the kid's acting up at 15, the parents are finally going to say, jump in here and say, look, this is worth it. One can dream, but we got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere. And I've been talking to couples, and I know for a fact, so has my pastor, talks to couples all the time about the wedding ceremony and the fact that all this stuff that has been pushed down their throats by the wedding industry is not your preparation for marriage.
No.
Your preparation for marriage is how well you get to know one another and seal this covenant with God as a part of it.
Right.
And Father John has got a real good way about him as far as being able to talk to young people. But there are some young people that just,
they don't want to hear it.
I don't want this. I don't care how much you care. I don't want this.
And guess what? Free will, their choice.
That's it.
And at some point, you can keep offering it, but if they don't accept it, that's up to them. But we can't stop offering it.
No. Oh, no.
Stop
No.
trying.
I agree with Stephen. I would rather do 5 of those weddings of couples that really care about what's going on than the drunken grooms with the help me on the bottoms of their shoes. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it all.
Oh, yeah.
So
should we throw it out to our viewing public, all 7 of them?
all 7 of them.
That maybe we should do just one episode on weddings.
On weddings. See feedback. You want an episode on weddings? Tell us.
Yes, please, feedback. If you are interested for us to do, soup to nuts on wedding, talk about this issue, talk about music, talk about, yes, you can do this. No, you really can't do that. We'll do a soup to nuts.
Yeah.
On it, but you got to make it worth our while.
Here she comes.
There's
Here comes
Nancy.
Split my throat today.
Nancy!
We're still on, Nancy, by the way. We're live.
I know.
know.
I'm sorry.
So,
Sorry, folks.
She's been away so long
thing.
she took a nap. Look.
Poor thing.
Bye.
No, I feel bad, Nance, because I did get your homily points in. So
Thanks for the homily.
Yes, thank you. And we got we're up to weddings right now,
Yes.
and we're
That's fine.
asking
Keep moving.
folks
I'll
if
pick
they-
up.
Go ahead.
You can keep moving. I'll pick up what you got.
Okay. And we're asking folks right now if they'd like us to do a wedding special.
Yes.
You know, something that so we can talk about it at length, because we've been talking about it for a little bit and we're starting to roll over on time.
Yeah.
You have to be really
Of
careful.
course.
Naturally, we get to the good stuff, and you know. But if you're really interested in us doing that, all the usual places you can give us feedback, or if
Especially,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
no, so I was going to say, especially one of the interesting things that was brought up in the comment section was celebration of weddings at a parish mass. I've never done that.
Nothing. I have nothing wrong with that.
You have? Oh,
Yep.
okay.
I've done it once.
Once.
Okay.
And that's because she was having a big hoopla wedding in Disney. And
Nice.
but she decided to actually be married in the church at 4 o'clock mass on Saturday afternoon.
You know, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, and it was lovely. It was lovely. If we do a show on weddings, I'll tell you all about it.
Yep.
Okay.
We had one, I believe it was Maria Goretti, that was done at a 4 o'clock as well.
Mm.
So, and that was a long that we'd be back in like 1994, 5, 6.
Now, this was just last year.
Oh wow, no, I'm talking. Mine was way back.
No.
But it was nice. I've only seen one. I've only done one, so I think, and a lot of us would say the same thing. But it is permissible. So are funerals.
Yes.
And I think with the priest shortage, it's going to happen more and more and more.
Mm.
Because where else are they? You know, if you've got them there on the weekend.
Well, here's the sad thing, and this is another can of worms.
Oh no.
If you want us to do a show on funerals,
Yes, we can do it.
here's another can of worms.
Okay.
When the children or the grandchildren come, when mother or father or grandma or grandpa dies, the children, no matter how good a Catholic the mother might have been, it means nothing to the children, and they don't have a funeral in church.
That is very true. I agree with that. I've seen that way too often now.
They just have the priest come to the funeral home, say a few words,
Yeah.
and
That
that's it.
actually just happened in my in-laws' family.
Mm.
And it was, I mean, it's one of those things where the person that was making the arrangements made the decision, yet the person who was deceased was in church probably every day.
Yes.
That's
You know,
insane.
so
That's happened quite
That's
frequently. Yeah.
That's horrible.
So if you'd like us to discuss that topic further, because we don't have time to discuss it now,
We have time. We've gone over time, so
feedback.
we need to. Yeah, we need feedback from folks. So if we can get some feedback, that would be great. We have just one more section I'm going to go through very, very quickly, just so we can get it in, and then we are done. So if you've been in there, if you could hear me now, there it is. Two things I just want to give out two things on the technology end. The Catholic TV app. I did put that out on Facebook. If you get a chance and you follow Catholic television normally and you want to get it on your iPad and your phone in a way better form than it was before, the new 2.0 app is what you're looking for. You can actually scroll back masses. This is for hardcore folks who like to do daily mass or want to see their programming right on their iPad or iPhone. Go get that app or make sure that you update that app because it's very, very good. The folks at Catholic TV do a wonderful job on a lot
I got
of
it.
programming. Again, who said that? Nancy?
I got it. No, me. I got it.
You got it. Okay.
I'll look into it.
Yeah, you got to look
As
into
soon
it.
as you get internet back.
Right.
Well,
Now
I'm
that you got
sitting
her
next
into
to the
back.
transformer thingy.
Right.
Oh, jeez.
And there is a new podcast coming out, sort of new, but he has been a person of interest that I've watched for quite a long time on what's called the Twit Network. That's This Week in Tech. It is Padre S.J. He's Father Robert Balleser. He's a Jesuit priest. He is their resident coding expert. I mean, the man's a geek. and a nerd. He's wonderful at it too. But he's going to have his own show, unique show called Padres Corner. And from what I saw in Padres Corner, he does not back down one iota that he is a Catholic priest.
Mm.
And that he is being allowed to do this by the graces of his provincial and his society.
Mm.
So he mixes science, tech, what's going on in the world, Catholicism, religion comes in there. I think for those of you who want a variety of things, but with a Catholic at the helm who's going to give you the right Catholic info, then you need to check out the Twit Network, and I believe it starts on Tuesday. You can see it live 10:30 at night here on the East Coast, 7:30 Pacific time. But check it out. I've subscribed to it already because I like what he does. He's a little too up here for me in the coding department because I don't get that technology. I just say, give me the thing and I'll use it. I don't make it. I'd love to know how to make it, but I don't have time in my life for that kind of stuff. So, but those two things I wanted to address. We did have one other thing we want to talk about. We will save it for next week because it was something that Allison Gingras had posted, and we wanted to talk about youth and social media. But I promise we will talk
next week.
Next week. Okay. So again, if you want to, please give us feedback, especially if you want those wedding and funeral specials. MondayMorningCatholic.net, MondayMorningCatholic@gmail.com, Facebook.com/Monday Morning Catholic. You can call us on the lovely feedback line no one uses, 774-955-0659 if I left anything out. Or if you're already talking on Steve's thread on Facebook, then put the feedback there. Okay? You don't mind, Steve, that we can find out from people?
That's fine.
Because you've got a lot of people talking on that thread right now.
Yeah, I noticed there were a few more responses, I think, this morning, too.
Yeah, there were. So they're looking for it. If you're already talking on Steve's thread, please give us some feedback, okay? Gee, Nance, I'm so sorry this happened to you.
Hey,
You'll be back in a couple of weeks now.
that's right. I won't be there next week. We have a 3-year-old's birthday. My 3-year-old birthday party.
We'll get you back. And I did say last week, and you two don't know about it, that I'm looking to take a week off myself for vacation because you all get to do it. I need to do it too. But what I might do is I may teach one of you how to do this.
Don't
Linda?
teach anybody how to do it.
Oh, come on. Not the whole setup that I have here. I can teach you just the YouTube part of it.
Linda's all thumbs when it comes to that.
Stephen?
I couldn't take the responsibility. I think you ought to put the best of Monday Morning Catholic show together and publish that.
Well, that's a little harder than you might think.
Oh, sorry.
Or
Yeah, because you'd have to like splice it together, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Or at another time, talk about funerals or weddings and post it.
And that's the idea I was thinking. She reads.
There you go on your week off.
She reads.
There you go.
If you want it, tell us, and we'll do it. Okay?
Good idea.
Great. Well, this was very interesting, very enlightening, very kooky. Dogs and internet.
Off the rails.
As always.
I'll have to listen tomorrow, guys.
Yeah. You missed a lot. And again, I want to thank the folks at Catholic Weekend for, having me invade their territory and giving us such a wonderful plug. We really appreciate it. So for Linda, Nancy, Steve, myself, thank you so much for being with us. We couldn't do this without you. So hopefully we will see you again next week. Ciao for now.
Ciao for now.
Bye.
Bye.